Blake Duckworth.
It's
The king of all kings.
bro. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Listen, it is Joshua Lamb here, host of the Rollercoaster of Fantasy Football Podcast, and I have Mr. Marvel himself. I have the king,
All right.
Blake Duckworth, the creator of Blake Takes. Before we even start, I would love to fucking just talk to you a little bit about this. I'm kind of just throwing this on you. We haven't even said this before we started recording this. Just wanted to ask you how the journey's been with the TikTok
With the TikTok. Okay, yeah. So for everyone that's listening, hearing this for the first time, so yeah, we do have Blake's Takes that I co-host with my brother Garrett. Started about a year and a half ago on YouTube. YouTube is obviously very hard to grow. So one of my friends at work, he's like, try dabbling in TikTok. You can post the same kind of videos you do on YouTube.
Yep.
It's like, all right, I'll give it a try. The algorithm is better on there. And then, just takes one video, right?
Yep.
And it just started to blow up. A few months later, I had my brother Garrett join me. And it's always like great to have that, bantering back and forth, good chemistry. And like with anything else, more practice, the better you get with everything, you're able to find like the format that you want, the niche. I was able to develop my room, my small ass room into a studio.
Looks clean,
bro. You wouldn't be able to tell on TikTok, but it's a closet, bro.
Oh no, that shit looks clean, though.
Right? Yeah,
she looks professional.
Yeah, we got the foam sound panels and everything, light shelves, microphones, all that good stuff. And it's just been honestly a hell of a journey.
Where are we at now? Bro, how many followers we got now?
We just surpassed 200,000 followers on
TikTok. Let's go, baby. That's so fire.
Yeah. Did not expect it to grow as much as it has, as quickly as it has.
Bro, I was just on your site, like on your page, like not even a week ago, and it was at 180,000.
Yeah.
20,000 in like the last week and a half.
Yeah. It's been a good run last month.
That's fire.
But we also post our episodes on all podcast platforms. Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon. Where we post like our full reviews, discussions, all that good stuff. Post as much as I can on YouTube. Yeah. I do all the editing, so it's hard to keep up with it all.
We'll give them a little background of who you are. Okay. I mean, how we know each other. Fucking, what's your film breakdown? Because the guy knows his shit. I'm not gonna lie. We've been in here for the past hour. He's been teaching me how to use all this equipment. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been fucking free balling it, and you can probably tell. Yeah. I'm new to the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a lot that goes into it, more than you would think. So me and Josh, we met at Stetson University.
The boys. Hatters matter, baby.
Stetson football. Did a year of college football there. Wanted to try it out. I was like, I'm not gonna go through life not trying college football, right?
Of course not.
Gotta try it.
Of course.
Didn't work out for me, as we know. But I'm glad I did it. So we did meet at Stetson, and after that, I went to Valencia, and then the next year, transferred over to UCF, and that's when I decided to major in film. Figured I'm going to study and keep studying in school. I might as well study something I like. Yep. So went from there. Had a good experience there.
Went to UCLA for a semester.
Did UCLA for a semester. Had a
Bruin.
Yeah. I had an internship at a production company out in Hollywood.
So sick.
So yeah, that was a great experience. Glad I did that. Had a few internships here in Orlando, but really just the whole reason Blake's Takes was created because I didn't know what I was going to do. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Yeah. I just knew that I loved talking about movies and TVs, like with my friends. Like that was always when I found myself happy. This is just when I'm having even the heated discussions. They're fun to have.
Of course.
It's like, you know what? Let me just voice my opinion. Of course. See if people want to hear it.
Yeah.
And it's worked out.
So. Absolutely. And just a little background story, because if you know me, I've done some extra work in movie stuff, TV shows, and my guy, we would do a couple castings together.
Yes.
And when we were waiting for castings and waiting to go on the set and things like that, I would literally question him on Marvel shit, like literally like box office like earnings in the first week, and he would tell me how much they would make all these Marvel movies. So this guy knows his shit. Check him out, Blake's Takes. He's the fucking man.
We have a fun time.
From there, I just want to go over what we're doing for this past week. You're probably asking, oh Josh, like fantasy's over. Fantasy's over, baby. Fucking last week, championship week. Unfortunately, I did not have the I didn't have the privilege of making it to the championship round in both of my leagues. I mean, whatever. Fuck me. But what we're doing here is we're just want to do a little bit of a recap. what we did in the season, what worked, what didn't work, and kind of go over some things about just the pains and gains of fucking fantasy football and how it went down. So I wanted to, a ton of pains. So I wanted to bring on Blake. This is my first time having a guest on the podcast, and who better than a fucking guy who really understands how this shit works, and a guy who's going to be in the fucking fantasy football league next year, where I'm going to take that ass.
Bro, we'll see.
And we'll go from there.
We'll see.
So let's start off with how your seasons went.
Okay, so I was in 2 leagues. I was in my big league, which both leagues were 12-team. One was PPR, another one was just like, I don't know, normal basic rules.
Yeah.
And the big league that I was in, it's an auction draft.
Yeah.
And that was the first draft that I was used to, was an auction draft. So a little harder, but I like it because you really got to pay attention to the whole draft. And that league started out great. I was 6-1 at one point, first in the league.
Oh, mama.
I'm like, there's no way I'm not making the playoffs.
Don't even say it,
dude.
Oh no.
I finished that season 6-8.
Oh, heartbreaker.
And missed the playoffs.
Bro.
What? So there's gonna be a lot to say about that league. We'll dive deep into that. My other league was a 12-team snake draft, and this league was great. I finished the regular season in second at 9-4. Made it all the way to the championship round.
Okay.
Lost in the championship round, but won that money. So
yeah, you gotta get in that money, baby.
That second place money.
You gotta get in that money.
I will take that.
Yeah,
I will take that.
Okay. Well, with mine, not as pretty similar starts, I will say. Both leagues, I started 4-1 in my 10-team league, 3-1 in my 12-team league, and I had a couple conversations with guys in my 12-team league, team that I didn't end up making the playoffs in. Shout out Josh Mazel. But we had a conversation about how we wanted the playoff to be formatted. Either there was going to be 6 teams coming in or 8 teams coming in.
Yeah.
So me and Mazel had a conversation. We were both like, hey, we're both 3-1 right now. Like, we should probably just do 6 teams and just be done with it. You know what I mean? Fuck these guys. We're probably a lot. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, I end up 6-8. So I end up going 3-7 for the rest of the games.
Wow.
It was a mess.
Damn.
It was a mess. And if you've been watching, you understand the shit that I've been going through. I mean, you're probably surprised that I'm still here, still standing. But that's one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get back up again. So let's get into the mix of what worked for you.
Yeah.
What didn't work for you.
Okay.
And just talk about maybe some players that really fucked you and really didn't.
Okay. So yeah, we're going to talk about some bust here, and I'm talking about some bust.
Big time busts.
Some bust.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So in the league that I finished 6-8 in, like I said, auction draft, a little tricky. Got to pick your poison.
Yep.
A little different. All right. I'll start with my number 1 bust, Cam Akers.
Oh, no.
Cam Akers.
I literally was just talking shit about Cam Akers right before this.
You know what's funny too? And Cam Akers, those last 2 weeks, there was 2 to 3 weeks where he was
good. Yeah, he was good. Did you still even have him on the roster at that point? You dropped him?
Yes, I dropped him.
You had to.
I had to. So Cam Akers in auction draft, if everyone knows, you have 200 fantasy bucks to draft your players. Yeah. So you got to be careful. Can't spend too much, can't spend too little.
Is there a reason why you went Cam Akers with your first pick?
Well, it wasn't a first pick.
Okay, what is it? Because I'm not an auction draft kind of guy. So what happened there?
So my first few picks were Tyreek Hill and Derrick Henry.
Oh, so you're saying your number 1 bust for the year.
Yes, number 1 bust for the year.
So where'd you take him at?
So I took him, I forget what round. I think it was maybe 4th or 5th, but I spent $24 on him. So
that's good money.
Yeah. I mean, Tyreek, I spent $50 on.
Okay.
Derek.
So what's a good wager for an auction draft? Would you say $24 as a sturdy amount for a guy that you probably anticipated starting?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's someone who I expect to be on the roster for the whole year.
Yeah, at least a flex.
Yes.
Yeah.
So around that range, when you spend $15 to $25, you can have that's usually the range where you can have surprisingly booming players.
Yeah.
Or
so is that the range where you're anticipating if you're spending $15 to $25?
Yeah.
Is that I'm probably going to start that player?
Most likely that's going to be a flex player.
Okay.
RB2, something like that.
So starters are up into that 50 range most of the time.
Yeah.
What's the most you've ever spent on a guy?
I want to say probably up in the 60s.
Yeah. Do you remember who it was?
I think. I'm trying to think.
Must have been like a Christian McCaffrey or like an Austin
Well,
Eckler or
at the
something.
time, I think it was like Michael Thomas.
Okay.
When
Okay.
he was
When
actually
he was
playing.
really
Yeah, yeah.
snapping. Yeah.
But so like for instance, Christian McCaffrey went for like $71 this
I mean,
year.
that's almost half. That's almost half the fucking
Literally,
barrel.
yeah,
Are you
yeah.
kidding me?
So you just never know, really. So like I said, Cam Akers, I was expecting him to be an RB2 for the year,
Mm-hmm.
and God damn it.
So where did you pivot? Because if he was supposed to be RB2,
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that RBs are slim.
Mm-hmm.
So where'd you have to go from there?
So this league was only one RB and two flexes.
Okay.
So I could have a little more wiggle room.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And from there, oh man. I mean, guys just came and go. From there, I didn't really focus on running backs. I was like, you know what, let me just pick up some like, wide receivers.
With some high upside.
Yeah, because it is PPR.
Yeah,
so
which is massive.
One of those receptions.
Yep.
What was your biggest draft bust? I want to know that.
Oh man,
I want to know.
I mean, honestly, like problem with my two leagues is the fact that like I was just so depleted with injuries. It was like unbelievable. So it's hard to say like a draft bust like when it comes to like health wise, because I look at a bust when it comes to them just not performing, and then a bust of them getting hurt and not playing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think there's two levels of a bust. And if I'm going to go with a bust that actually withstand it and played throughout the season, easy Najee Harris.
Okay.
It had to be, I won't say that he didn't get better throughout the year.
Right.
And I could almost say that it was another Steelers guy. Deontay Johnson was another guy that didn't really play well.
Yeah.
But I ended up trading him. But I will say Najee Harris was probably like my biggest bust to be the guy. Like he's my RB1. He was my number one pick.
I mean, in my leagues, Najee Harris, that was like a top 10 pick in both leagues.
Easily.
Because you were expecting him to be, top 5, top 5 running back.
But the efficiency was never there.
No.
You know what I mean? He never had great efficiency, even last year as a rookie. Like it was just like, and everybody knows usage is fucking king. You know what I mean? Touches is king. Yes. Like opportunity is how you're going to get your fantasy points. You can't fucking score points if you don't have the ball in your hands. Yeah. So when I was looking at it, I was thinking, all right, Najee Harris. I had that 5th pick in that 12-team league. I had the 2nd pick in my 10-team league, which Christian McCaffrey, which I'm happy about. But 5th pick, I mean, I think when you're stuck in that middle of the round on a snake draft, things get questionable. You know what I mean? Because you don't have like the ability to grab somebody and you're close enough to your next pick that you could maybe grab the guy that was like you're questioning going between. You know what I mean? So I had that 5th pick where the drop off was pretty substantial.
There's always a drop.
Yeah.
There's always a drop.
So the first 5 picks, I mean, we probably went Christian McCaffrey or Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan, that was it. That's what. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor. So it was Christian McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, Austin Eckler. Okay. And then 4. Did I pick him with my 4th pick? Because who would be the 4th pick? I don't even know who the 4th pick.
I feel like there's a few, maybe Justin Jefferson, to be honest.
It was
had to be
there. Okay, it was okay. I forgot a receiver.
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor went 1. Cooper Kupp went 2.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. 3 went Christian McCaffrey. 4 went Austin Eckler.
Okay.
Right off the board. I mean, those are the guys that are getting you 20.
Well, because that's the thing. When you do a snake draft, you need an RB like right away, or else you're gonna have no one.
Oh, nothing. Because
the RBs are scarce.
I got the 5th pick, and then I didn't have a pick until I didn't have a pick until the 20th pick. Oof. 20th pick. Oof. That's 15 guys.
That's a lot.
Are you kidding me?
That's a lot.
So, of course, I had to go running back. So I went with Najee. And unfortunately, because I was looking at 2 things. I was looking at either Derrick Henry or Najee Harris. I had to go running back. And it was a PPR format.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry doesn't catch the ball. He didn't catch the ball out the backfield. I mean, he was okay with his receptions this year. Like he got a little bit more involved, and I think that's because Tennessee's offense didn't have a wide receiver. You know what I mean? Yes. I mean, they really didn't have anybody who they could utilize. Yep. So of course they had a little bit more dump offs to Derrick Henry, but I was nervous about his injury, coming back from his injury, because I know he played in his playoff game last year.
Right, but see, you know what I've noticed, and this is why I actually picked Derrick Henry in that league, and I spent $61 on him, and my cousin was giving me shit. He's like, bro, they don't have any receivers. They're going to just stuff the box. But I'm like, he's going to get his touches. It's
king.
So like, fuck it. I'm doing Derrick Henry because I've noticed a lot of the times too, like those great players whenever they get injured, the year after they pop off.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
year, for some reason, the year after they pop
yeah.
off, unless they're Michael Thomas.
Don't. I have him in both leagues.
Yeah.
I had him in both
Oh, I
leagues.
did too, because I was like, you know what? I'll just get him. I'll get him a little cheaper.
Let me just stash him.
Yeah. Stash
just
him.
in case.
Stash him.
He popped off the first couple weeks.
First
I'm
2
like,
weeks, I had him in there. I was like, you know what? This
you
is
had
great.
you
Yeah.
used him?
Yes. I was like, this is a great decision.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And he gets hurt, bro.
You kidding me? Well, you wouldn't even believe the fleecing that I did on my boy Steve. Shout out Steve, much love, brother. But the fleecing that I did on my boy Steve, it was right before Brees Hall started popping off. He was good in running backs, but he had no receivers. Bro, I traded him outright, Michael Thomas for Brees Hall. I mean, he ended up getting hurt.
I know, but could you imagine?
But if he didn't get hurt, oh my God. And then Michael Thomas didn't play for the rest of the year. I traded Michael Thomas when he just started his injury, and they were talking about he should be back next week.
Yeah. They always say that.
And I traded his ass like that. So yeah, I ended up going Najee Harris, probably my biggest bust, just when it comes to potential and his projected. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I ended up going him just because I thought he was going to be with a rookie quarterback or Mitch Trubisky. Both of them are going to be guys that don't stretch to the field. I mean, at least for a rookie, you usually don't see that. They're going to be using that safety blanket, especially with Mitchell Trubisky just being the first year there.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to utilize Najee Harris a little bit more. And the next thing you know, they're using Jaylen Warren, the backup running back, and he's taking touches.
Yeah.
So right then, man, I was like, I started scrambling, and I ended up trading Najee Harris when I was 3-1. Okay. I traded Najee Harris.
That's bold.
When Jonathan Taylor was hurt, and my buddy was 1-3. Okay. And he needed to win. So I was like, I might have a chance to steal Jonathan Taylor, and he could snap for the rest of the year. You just don't know. I took the chance, got Jonathan Taylor. He panned out a little bit better than Najee Harris, in my opinion. He did get hurt at the end of the year. Yep. But I would say for that was probably my biggest bust between the two leagues.
Okay.
When it comes to your drafts, were there anybody that you would have preferred to grab in that number one pick that you see later on in your draft that you went with Derrick Henry? Would you have wanted to go with somebody else?
Honestly, no, because the first picks that I had in both drafts, now I spent the most money on Derrick Henry, but my first picks in both draft, auction and snake, was Tyreek Hill. Yeah.
So you were a receiver off
I was a receiver. I love receivers.
I mean, PPR you got.
And to be honest, at the time, that was just the best player available. By that time, all those, top running backs were gone because I was.
So what pick were you at then? You must have been later pick.
In the snake draft, I was 10 out of 12.
Okay, but then you probably bounced back and got a stud in the second round. Who was your second round?
Well, the second round, I see, and then I needed a running back. So I'm like, okay, I got to get someone that'd be an RB1. And so, stud, yeah, you could say I got Joe Mixon.
Okay.
That's solid.
He's a PPR guy.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of dump offs.
I mean, he had that one game where he got me over 50 points.
Oh, you don't got to tell me I played against him. I lost that week. I lost Matthew Taft, you son of a bitch. Ended up beating me because of it.
Yeah. So, honestly, I was happy with that. That worked out. But there isn't really anyone that I wish I got because for the most part, that first pick, I really like Tyreek Hill. That first
Tyreek Hill was great.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of people were skeptical about Tyreek Hill going into the season. But I'm like, bro, they're paying him $30 million. Tua is a mid route, short route thrower. They're gonna feed him.
They're gonna have to.
And Tyreek is great with yards after catch. I'm like, bro, they're gonna feed him. I don't know why people would have even been skeptical in the lightest about picking Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, looking back at it now, other than my 10-team league, I ended up going Christian McCaffrey, which I mean, you got to give it to the guy. I mean, a guy who was consistently hurt, and everybody was skeptical about picking him. I took the chance and I grabbed him, and he was great this year.
Right.
When he got traded to San Fran, I got a little worried about the weapons that they had.
Maybe the touches.
I mean, Elijah Mitchell came back and he took 12, 13 carries. First game.
He was getting 80 yards.
First game back. Guy just came back from a knee injury and he's taking all the touches.
I picked him up. I picked up Elijah.
I picked him up too. Yeah, I picked him up too. So let me ask you this. When it came to that 6-1 team, what happened?
Okay.
Why did it happen? What was the downfall?
So I think
man, that's tough.
Honestly,
man.
I think the downfall is just I think every team that wins, at least in maybe an auction draft, or at least in this league that I'm in every year, the snake draft, I just had so much depth. I didn't need to make any trades, but you need to trade.
Yeah.
You need to have a good trade.
You got to.
Got to have a good trade come mid-season because that can definitely make or break your season.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't make any trades because I was just too stuck up with my team.
What was the team?
Okay.
What was the lineup?
So in the beginning, the lineup was Geno Smith, Derrick Henry, Tyreek, Michael Pittman Jr.
Whoa, let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Who was the quarterback that you initially drafted? Because don't tell me it was Geno Smith. You must have grabbed somebody before that you were like, this is probably going to be my guy.
Oh, who was it?
Because mine was Trey Lance.
You know what's funny? That's funny. But you know what's funny?
Give me this job.
My first draft, actually it was Justin Fields. I'm not bullshitting.
Really?
It was Justin Fields, but then I dropped him because he wasn't too good.
Mama.
But then I picked him up later.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
So initially it was Justin Fields.
Okay.
Funny how that came back around.
And then you grabbed Geno Smith.
Geno Smith, yes.
Off waivers?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
See, I ended up getting Geno Smith as well because Trey Lance got hurt.
Yep.
Okay, so who were the rest?
Tight end was Freiermuth, which I accidentally drafted him because when like you don't nominate a player in time.
It's the first guy.
Yeah, it's the first guy. Yeah. So I accidentally drafted Freiermuth, and I was pissed as fuck. But he ended up being like the fourth or fifth tight end.
He was real good this year.
So that was a nice mistake.
So run that back real quick. Geno Smith, and then who?
Derrick Henry at RB.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill, wide receiver 1.
Okay.
Michael Pittman Jr., wide receiver 2.
Okay. I had him too.
Or Mike Williams as well.
Okay.
Mike Williams.
Yeah, I'll take that.
But he gets hurt, but he's a boomer bust.
Yep.
Yeah, tight end Freiermuth. Another flex that I had for a while that I was using like actually every game was Gibson.
Okay. And he was good.
Yeah,
he was good when it was just him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was doing. I think that's why I was 6-1. Like I said in the beginning, everyone was doing pretty solid.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously you have Robinson come back, so Gibson's touches hurt.
Yeah.
Mike Williams gets hurt.
Yeah.
He's out for some weeks. Freiermuth gets concussed for a little bit.
Oh God.
And then
just crippled with injuries.
So I mean,
it's just how it goes, man.
It's just how it goes.
It's just how it goes.
I think that's why you got to make a trade like some point before the mid-season where you can just get a nice steal because someone's bound to fall off and someone's bound to pop off.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So talking about Antonio Gibson, because this brings me into another question for you and something that you referenced to is that trade. It's and was there anybody that you picked up in the draft that you knew that you would have liked to trade before they dropped off?
Honestly, no, because I wasn't thinking like that. I wasn't thinking like that, and that was my mistake.
See, I picked up Antonio Gibson in the draft, late rounds, after all the shit talking about Brian Robinson. And, of course, I mean, Brian Robinson had his injury, him getting shot before most of fantasy football drafts even happened. So, but the conversation about Antonio Gibson didn't really come about until, like, the first week after the season started. Mm-hmm. Like, nobody was really talking about Antonio Gibson.
I know, I stole him.
Yeah, I got him late. I got him real late. So I grabbed him knowing, because I was hearing that Brian Robinson was like making tremendous like progress like with his leg. And I was like, okay, well, so talking about a steal. So Peanut, you love him. Gotta have him. Great guy. He had CeeDee Lamb. And Dak Prescott gets hurt.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb has a shit game week 1.
Don't tell me you got him.
Antonio Gibson for CeeDee Lamb.
Straight up?
Straight
You're
up.
fucking lying. I'm sorry. I don't care who's quarterback of Dallas.
Yeah.
Bro, come on.
Yeah.
It's CeeDee Lamb. Like, everyone's going to have those shit games.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's going to have those shit games.
Oh, yeah. He didn't have a bat. He had Josh Jacobs. But okay. So he had Josh Jacobs, and that was his number one guy.
Yeah.
Like, his RB2 was dog shit. I don't even remember who it was. I think it was Montgomery, and he had like a nagging injury like that week or something like that. So I took advantage. Yeah. I went over there and I was like, "Hey, Antonio Gibson just put up 20 like the week 1.
Yeah,
he was playing well first couple weeks.
He was.
I was like, listen, he's playing well. Dak Prescott's been shit. Like he's hurt.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb did not look good week 1, even though he had like 12 targets that game. He only had like 2 catches, but he had like 12 targets. So I threw that trade out there, right? And before that trade was taken, I go to Adam. Sweet Adam. Big dog. Gettleman's ghost is what his fucking shit is. And he had Keenan Allen.
Okay.
And we all know
He's
how Keenan
always
Allen,
hurt, bro.
that hamstring is a
Bro.
fucking it's a rubber band. It snaps
It
continuously.
does, bro. And like he's so good, but you
Yeah.
got to be available.
I mean, the best availability. I mean, the best. What the best? What's
When
the
they
what's
say,
the
what's the
word?
saying?
What's
What's
the
the
word?
name?
The best something is availability. The
Yeah.
best ability is availability.
That's it. Yes.
So I'm talking to Adam. I was like, hey, I got Antonio Gibson here. He's burning a hole on my bench. And this is when I had Javonte Williams, Christian McCaffrey,
Okay.
and who was my RB2? Who was my RB2 at that point? Yeah, I
not
picked.
Brees Hall yet.
It wasn't Brees Hall. Leonard Fournette.
Okay.
So I had Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, and Javonte Williams as my flex.
Okay.
I had Antonio Gibson and Cordero Patterson on my bench.
Okay.
So I'm like, hey, and
That's
Cordero
not bad.
Patterson was moving for me
Yeah.
the first couple weeks. So I was like, let me get rid of Antonio Gibson now. If I can snag a receiver, because I had Deontay Johnson and Michael Pittman. No, not Michael Pittman. DK Metcalf.
Okay.
And DK Metcalf, man, I mean, he's good when he's good.
Yeah.
And he can be great when he's great. But when he's bad, I lost a week last week because I went into the Monday night game and he only got me like 1 point.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was definitely like an off year for DK. 'Cause I think I had him his rookie or second year. I want to say I had him his rookie year though, because like
snapped.
he was snapping.
He snapped. But I remember last year I lost to Peanut, and it comes full circle because the reason I lost to Peanut is because Antonio Gibson. It was Redskins versus fucking Seahawks, and I was up by like 30. I just needed Decap to have like a normal game. Give me 5 points, right? He gives me 1 point. Antonio Gibson goes for like 34. I lost.
Oh my god.
I was like physically ill.
Oh
it was like
God.
the end of the year too, and I needed the win. I was so frustrated. So I picked up DK and I had Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson, I had him last year too, and he was good for me last year. He was like a guy who was getting me like 15, 16 points pretty consistently. Had a lot of targets. But he comes out this year, like just wasn't really doing the job, and I knew I needed to get like another receiver just in case. So I go to Adam. I say, hey, I got Antonio Gibson, and he's burning a hole. And he was like, I'll give you Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
And this is when Keenan Allen was like, yes, he was hurt, but like there was conversations of him coming back like next week.
When he comes back, he'll get you like 20.
Oh yeah, he'll do it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a reception guy.
Yeah.
You know. So Adam's like, yeah, I'll trade you Keenan Allen for Antonio Gibson, and he sends me the trade.
Okay.
But I start looking. I was like, maybe I could get somebody else. I don't love Keenan Allen, especially with his injury.
Yeah.
So I started going around. I started trying to find a team with just very
lack of running back.
Yeah, lack of depth in the running back position. And I see Peanut, my sweet little Peanut. I mean, he's so fragile and he has no juice. And I was like, I might have to take advantage. So I sent him that trade. I said, yo, Peanut, I sent you a trade. I have another trade ready to accept. I need you to make a move soon. I put the pressure on him. Next thing you know, about a couple hours later, I get the notification. He accepted it for CeeDee Lamb. I was like, oh, mama.
Bro.
Oh, mama.
That's a nice deal right there.
Yeah, it was big time.
That is a nice
Did you make
steal.
any trades at all this year?
Dude, no.
None. Either league?
No, neither league. So, and I'll go into my league that I felt like I just didn't even need to.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my lineup for the league that I came in second in by the end of the year.
Yep.
Quarterback, Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Wide receiver 1, Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
All right. Wide receiver 2. Okay, I'm just gonna go through my wide receivers. Okay. So yeah, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins. I stole him in like the 6th round because I knew he's coming back, bro.
I stole him too. Yep.
I was like, come on.
Huge.
He kind of shat the bed.
And later on, he did shit the bed for me. Yeah, I agree.
But during that time, I was like, bro, he's gonna be like 20 points. Yes, I'm taking him.
Absolutely.
And then my other wide receivers were Chris Godwin,
perfect,
and Terry McLaurin. I mean,
okay,
those are target guys.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, no, those are nice pickups.
My RB,
but I will say, all of those guys, Chris Godwin coming off injury.
Yep.
We have who was the other guy you said?
Hopkins off suspension.
Terry McLaurin. Those are steals. That's what I'm saying. Like those are what makes or breaks like a season for you. It's getting those sleeper guys.
Yeah.
So who are your backs?
So I had Joe Mixon. For the longest time, my RB2 was Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Okay.
So beginning, amazing,
snapping in the beginning, touchdown god.
It started sucking
so bad.
So I was like, okay, what am I gonna do,
bro? Did you see last game for the Chiefs?
I did not.
Ronald Jones was getting carries over Clyde. I don't know if he's
What's
hurt.
going on?
I don't know if he's hurt because Isaiah Pacheco took
Yeah.
over, and so did Jerick McKinnon. Jerick McKinnon was a star the last couple of weeks.
So funny you bring that up.
Mm-hmm.
Who do I steal on waivers?
No, don't tell me.
Jared McKinnon.
Oh yeah,
Jared McKinnon. So I'm having Joe Mixon and Jared McKinnon. Jared McKinnon give me 30 pieces.
like consecutive 3 weeks in a row type shit.
Yes.
Like with like 3 carries, but like
Yes.
5 catches and 120 yards in the fucking air.
Dude.
Oh,
Come on.
couple tutties.
And then tight end, I had George Kittle.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously terrible in the beginning, but
Ball.
playoffs,
Yep.
championships, fucking balled. I mean,
Tap
he
at him,
gave
too.
me 23
Mhm.
in the semifinals, 27 in the championship round. Like,
Yep.
come on, can't be.
That's
mad
what
at
he
that.
had like 2 touchdowns for like
Yeah.
120 yards or
Yep.
something like that.
Literally.
That's when he played me. I was
Exactly,
like, fuck.
exactly. 120 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Come on, baby.
Yep.
You know how it is, bro. I'm telling you. So
there's a lot of depth in that league.
Oh no, that team's stacked.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I were to compare your team to a team that we had in our league, the league that you will be in, where I'll be smacking that ass next year.
We'll find out.
Luke McDermott. He won the league this
He
year.
did.
Yeah, and this is a guy
Okay.
who's not really. He just started getting into fantasy last year. I think last year was his first year into fantasy. But
Really?
his lineup, I'll just give you a quick little
Yeah,
rundown.
yeah. Give me
I
the
mean,
lineup.
I got to give him props where props are due, because I will say he had a hell of a draft.
Right.
And I don't, Luke, I love you to death, kid, but I don't think this is because you were like, I know these motherfuckers gonna pop off. I think it was more that like he drafted hoping to God like they stayed healthy or they played well.
Sometimes you just get lucky.
Yeah.
And that's fantasy.
Fantasy is more luck than being good.
Absolutely.
We're not out there playing, Bubs.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we don't know what the fuck's going on, but
No.
this was his team. He went Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
He took him pretty early, which I thought was
Right.
But
Ballsy.
he knew. I will say this: as a GM, he did grab some guys
Okay.
that I was looking to grab.
Okay.
He just grabbed them a little earlier than
Right.
I thought were worth it. Okay,
Yep.
so Patrick Mahomes, I'll actually go to like his first fucking week because I want you to see like really
popped off.
Really, what he went 13-1.
Oh wow!
And won the championship.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
13-1.
13-1.
Holy shit!
I mean, he's just a piece of shit. Is what
Oh my god!
So what his team looked like week 1 was right here. Okay, it was Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Derrick Henry.
Okay.
So right there, I mean, I know you said that you
Yeah.
like off the injury. I wasn't a fan.
For some people,
It depends.
You
Yeah.
know, it depends on the people.
It
Because
depends.
like you have people like Michael Thomas off injury, you know that's
Mhm.
suspect.
Very.
But Derrick Henry's a dog,
Yeah, he's a fucking dog.
so you know he's gonna come back stronger.
What it just scared me with the playoff game.
Okay.
When he came back in the playoff game and he didn't look that good, I
Yeah.
was just like, is this something to monitor?
Okay.
So I didn't grab him.
Okay.
And he was the pick after me.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he was actually. That was my other league that Derrick Henry got picked up right after Najee Harris. But whatever. So Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
So right there. I mean, those are
Yeah.
3 stars right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right off the
And
rip.
RBs are hard to come off of.
Oh,
RBs are hard
you
to
got,
find.
you got to be kidding me.
So
I mean,
he got 2 dimes right there.
dimes. So they go those top 3 guys. They're most likely getting you 60 points off of off rip. I mean, you should almost be guaranteed that those 3 guys are going to get you 60 points. And then we have fucking 5 more guys to go. So Michael Pittman.
Okay.
So
Hit or miss.
Hit or
some weeks,
miss.
Yes.
He had that one really, really good week. He had like 14
It was like
catches.
the first week.
Yeah, he was
It was the
balling.
first week.
He was balling. And I had him in my other league, so I felt pretty good.
Yeah, I had him in the PPR league.
And then he grabbed Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay.
He had Darren Waller.
Yeah.
But he did have Pat Freiermuth on the bench.
Okay.
But his flex was Devontae Smith.
Okay.
Okay, but that's not even the best part about it.
Okay. Let's get
We
to the
go
best
down
part.
to the bench.
Go to the bench, man.
Amari Cooper,
Okay.
who was
Jesus Christ.
pretty damn
If-
good.
If you start him some weeks,
He
boom.
was balling.
Balling.
I mean, he was a flex play, regardless.
Right.
Like sometimes he was even cracking that wide receiver
Yeah.
2 conversation.
He was getting you 20 plus.
Tony Pollard,
Jesus Christ.
Pat Freiermuth was on the bench. So right there, he had really good depth.
Tony
right?
Pollard might have been like the best pickup for every single team.
Oh my god, it was absurd.
That's fucking insane.
So then when I go like later on in the year, he did. Oh, this is what made me hot. This because he has Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry.
And Tony Pollard.
And Tony Pollard, you know who he picks up off of waivers?
Wait, let me take a guess.
I want you to guess.
Okay.
I want you to fucking guess because it's gonna make you sick.
Well, don't tell me it's Jared McKinnon. It's not Jared
Nope.
McKinnon. Kenneth Walker.
Nope.
Okay. Damn, who am I thinking of? On off
This
waiver.
makes me sick.
Off waiver.
Off
Let
waivers.
me think, man.
Who's a guy that is in a committee but is clearly a better back and a PPR stallion? Comes back to last year when his other running back ended up getting hurt and he started showing some real moves.
Damn.
You got it. You got it.
Give me AFC or NFC.
I don't even know.
All right, just tell me.
Let's just say he's on the Patriots.
Oh, fuck, I even forget his name.
Ramondre Stevenson.
Stevenson, yeah, he was popping off.
Ramondre Stevenson, he picks up. He averaged 15 points a game. He was a 7th best running back in the league. 7th. And he picked him up off of waivers.
And I feel like you didn't hear about that much.
It was like a gradual thing that was like, because he started off slow because Damian Harris was taking carries, of course. Let's go over some of his weeks, because he started off 4 points, 6 points, and then Damian Harris got hurt or something like that.
And I mean, be honest, because you're in the same division as the Dolphins, and the Bills, and the Jets were doing good. So I feel like those were the most talked about teams. They didn't talk about Patriots.
You weren't hearing Patriots at all.
You weren't hearing about
because Mac Jones isn't some sexy guy that's putting up big numbers. You know what I mean? But that son of a bitch, you know when Tom Brady was there, running backs out of the backfield and little dump offs was like their bread and butter. You know what I mean? Bill Belichick is all about it.
What was his name? White.
James White.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
James White was a star. Fucking who else do we have? Buckhead was over there at one point, right? Burkhead.
Yeah.
Who's on the Texans now. But yeah, you did 4 points, 6 points, and then out of nowhere, 20 points, 13, 20, 25, 24, 22, 16, 14, 20, 14, had a little dud, 3, then 25.
That's RB1 numbers.
It's RB1 numbers. And then his receptions, he had 2 catches, 1 catch, 4, 4, 2, 4, 8, 7, 3, 6, 9, 6, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 5.
Wow.
So, I mean, you pick that up when you have fucking Tony Pollard on the bench too.
Dude, he was getting 34, 37. It was insane.
Bro, and then you want to know what this sly son of a bitch does? And you couldn't say, I was the commissioner of this league, and there was nothing you really could have said about this, right? Because he was so stacked in his depth that there really wasn't much you can say because the trade made sense. He didn't make that trade until week 10 or something like that. Was it week 10? It was week 9. It was week 9. He went and he flipped Tony Pollard and this is when Elliott got hurt and Tony Pollard was playing well. It was he flipped Tony Pollard and Michael Pittman and another piece to Regis.
Okay.
For Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
So his lineup was Patty Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyreek Hill, Pat Freiermuth, and then he had...
You still had Stevenson.
He still had Stevenson. He still had... That's who we traded. Stevenson as well. Michael Pittman, Stevenson, and...
You traded Pollard?
And Pollard.
Okay.
So Stevenson, Pollard, Stevenson, Pollard, and... Who am I missing? Pittman. And he got back Ezekiel Elliott.
Okay.
Najee Harris.
Okay.
And
Tyreek
Hill.
God damn.
So he got a haul back, and then his lineup was just so incredibly stacked. He's projected 140 points a game.
That's hard to do in those normal.
Oh, bro. So literally, his top 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. His 5 stars before you got to tight end and flex. I mean, they're giving you 100 points
easily.
So I mean, it was hard to
come back from Patrick Mahomes was throwing that fucking rock this year.
Everything that he could do. I mean, he was balling, bro. He was balling. So looking at that, I mean, he really did play well. His team was stacked. I did want to go into a little bit of the trades that I made this year that were pretty damn good because I did trade Deontay Johnson for Breece Hall.
Yep, that's solid.
Yeah, Breece Hall got hurt, but it looked good at the time.
You can't foresee that.
You can't.
So
and then
you got to do it.
My other league, I traded Michael Thomas for Breece Hall straight up.
Okay.
I did the Najee Harris for Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
And I did the Antonio Gibson for the CeeDee Lamb.
Yes.
yes, those were good trades. Some of those panned out better than others. Looking at my team, where I went wrong, I just think I went too running back heavy.
Okay, yeah,
You
it sounded like you
know,
did have a lot of running backs.
yeah, and I also stacked them. So like I picked up Javonte Williams in both my leagues. I traded for
Mm,
Brees Hall in both of my leagues.
hmm.
So
So
when
if
they
one
both
goes
got
down, they're
hurt,
both going
oh bro,
down.
I mean as soon as they both of those guys went down,
Yeah.
I lost 4 guys. Technically, I lost 4 guys. Like
Jesus
two
Christ.
two
Yeah.
leagues,
Yeah.
both in the same league. I lost 4 guys.
See, and I think I made that because I usually always do 2 leagues, and I think that's where I made some of my mistakes was having them too much of the same.
Yeah.
So this year I just really switched it up. Obviously, both leagues I had Tyreek Hill, but other than that, the whole team was different.
Yeah.
And
Where it helps, but it also hurts you.
right,
Because I'm sure
then
you
if
played
you go
them.
up against them,
Yeah.
you're like, well, at least maybe one league it works out.
Yeah, yeah.
You just hope to win one league so you can win your money back.
Exactly. So, did you have any weeks where you were playing like a decent amount of your guys?
To be honest, not really. It only ended up being either like 1 or 2, maybe like
Okay.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
But other than that, it really wasn't as
As bad as it
stacked
could have been.
as it could have been.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, just to give you a little bit of a breakdown on that, bro, I played in my 12-team league. I had my buddy Josh Mazel. He had, I'll tell you his lineup real quick. He had Jalen Hurts. I had Jalen Hurts in my other
Okay.
league. He had Christian McCaffrey. I had Christian McCaffrey in my other
Okay.
league. He had DK Metcalf. I had DK Metcalf in my
Yeah.
other league. Then he also had Harrison Butker.
Okay.
So I had like 4 or 5 guys that were the same as his team. So
Yeah.
I also had Gabe Davis. He had Gabe Davis. And when we
Mhm.
played against each other, I had to start Gabe Davis. So, bro, literally that week was hell. Like I needed him to snap
Yeah.
for me to win my other league,
Yeah.
and then hope to God that the league that I was playing him in, like the other guys that I had
Yep.
drafted for my 12-team league, also snapped.
Okay.
So I needed both teams to go for like 140.
That's
And
not stressful.
I was this close to winning that week. The only reason I didn't is because Josh Jacobs broke that 80-yarder in OT. That's how I lost. Fucking Peanut beat me by 5 points.
Bro, didn't he get like 40 plus points that game?
Mhm.
Yep.
Bro, I played Joe Mixon the week that he went for 55. I played Josh Jacobs the week he went for like 48. And then I played Cleveland's D when they put up 35. And that was the week I didn't play Geno Smith. I lost by 5. Because Deshaun Watson got me 5 points. Geno Smith was on the bench.
God. And I feel like that happened too. That always happens to me in my cousin's league, the one that I finished 6 and 8. The second half, every fucking week, one of their players has a career week.
Oh.
The most that they score all
There's
fucking
nothing
year.
you can do.
Bro,
so 55
annoying.
Points?
It was nice.
Are you kidding me?
It was real nice.
There was a couple weeks that I only put up like 67. Like I would just drop the ball. If I played Joe Mixon that week, I just needed a kicker to go off for 15 and I would have lost.
It was real nice.
Oh my God, I was blown away. So I lost every single one of those weeks that I had to play against some stars. Like the Cleveland that Cleveland game, where they put up 35. If I would have won that game, I would have won the playoffs. I would have ended up going 7-7, and I would have went to the playoffs. But I didn't start Geno Smith, and they went for Cleveland's D, and I ended up losing that week by 4 or 5 points.
Speaking of close games, so I would have made the playoffs if I just fucking started a few guys, obviously, and just went. So there's like 2 scenarios. Yeah. So one scenario is going to be Justin Fields, which I picked him up, probably my best free agency pickup of the year, huge. But there was one week where I think I didn't start him because maybe I think the defense he was going up against was really good. I just didn't like the matchup, and I liked the lineup for matchup for Geno Smith. He goes off and gives me 44 points. Now, I started him the week after, and he still got me another 40.
I saw that.
So I'm happy about that.
I played him that 1 week.
But that first 43-point game that he did, he was on my bench. If I won that game, that would have gotten me to the playoffs.
Crusher.
Another scenario.
Yep.
I had Mike Williams this year, but he was injured because of that ankle. So I picked up Joshua Palmer.
Oh, yeah, I know where this is going. Yeah. You didn't start him?
Bro, he was on my bench for that 30-plus point game.
I started him that game, baby. Come on now.
If I started him, I would have won that game.
Oh.
And I would have gotten to the playoffs,
bro.
Tough, so it's like that one player that you don't start that week that can push you into the playoffs.
Yep. I mean, I always say it's a game of what ifs.
It is because I feel like I had good waiver pickups this year because my cousin, when I first got into fantasy football like 5 years ago, he was kind of like just like showing me the ropes. Each year I would get better with my drafts and pickups. He's like, all right, you're learning grasshopper. So usually like when I had my waiver pickups this year, for the most part, he would be texting me the day after, like, you motherfucker, that's what I wanted.
Of course.
I'm like, okay, I'm learning, but I'm not fucking starting them.
I know. Bro, and I did the same thing with Christian Watson. I got Christian Watson the week after he like had that one explosion, like that 3 touchdown game.
Yes, Watson. Yeah.
And I was like, bro,
I almost picked him up.
Bro, I didn't start him for the next like 3 games. I was like, I can't trust his touchdown, like his output. Like, how can I trust him to score a touchdown every single game? And he did. Come on, guys. He did like 34, then he had like 23, 21, 24. I was like, bro, and I'm not starting this guy. Yeah. And I finally ended up starting him at the very end of the year. And I think he did me like
he was doing like fine.
But looking, we're probably gonna have to wrap it up because we're already at 45 minutes. I don't want to make this too long, but I did want to ask you, where are you going next year? Like, where are you thinking? Like, what are you gonna change? What can you make that you think will better your team and all that good stuff?
So definitely have to make a trade with him at some point in the season. I think, but see, I get too scared.
Let me say this: don't be the guy who's not trading.
Right?
For everybody out there, you're a GM, baby. Live the lifestyle of trading the guys. Because I'm making trades. I got bitches out there that are bitching at me because they're like, oh, this guy's gonna try to fleece me. How about you nut up and put up some players and get going? Yeah. Nothing against you. Yeah. But I was trading like a son of a bitch. My 12-team league barely traded at all. So it was frustrating, but like it's the best part about fantasy.
I mean, like I said, in some leagues you really didn't have to. Like my other league I came in second in, I didn't have to make a single goddamn trade.
I agree.
It's fucking depth out the ass.
I feel that.
But when it's those auction draft leagues where players are more spread out, I feel like you got to do some trades. Tight end, that's a big one.
It is so big.
That's a big one, especially with I don't know when the fuck the tight end position became so relevant in fantasy.
Don't get me going.
But you see Travis Kelce. Obviously, there's only one Travis Kelce.
That's it.
And the drop off between 2, it's like 100+ points.
Mark Andrews.
And he was like hurt, right?
He was hurt, and he was still like 150 points off of the number 1.
It's insane.
My buddy Mazel. I mean, I keep on referencing Josh. Love you, kid. He picked up Travis Kelce. He had Mark Andrews in his flex.
Oh my god!
He picked him up back to back, just to be a dickhead.
Oh my god! Because that's really the only 2 tight ends. Like,
it worked out for him in a way. He was playing real well. He ended up getting beat in like semifinals.
So like, I'm really curious to see where the tight end position is going to go next year. I mean, like, bro,
who's going to be the guy?
You thought it was going to be Kyle Pitts. Honestly, that's not the case because he was more of like a receiver type tight end, like Kelce.
Yep.
I had him. What was it? This was the second year. I had him his rookie year. He had a great stretch.
Really good. Yeah.
I didn't pick him up this year, thankfully.
Thankfully. I made that trade. I traded for Kyle Pitts and Garrett Wilson. Ooh. And Garrett Wilson popped off for me later on. But the haul was really for Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
I was like, I need a tight end. I had Tyler Conklin. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I traded Antonio. This is when Antonio Gibson was like about to lose all of his value.
Okay.
I had him in both leagues.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to get away from this guy because Brian Robinson come back. His value's going to drop. I need to do something. So I traded Antonio Gibson and Tyler Conklin for Kyle Pitts and Garrett Wilson.
At least Garrett Wilson worked out.
I know. But if Kyle Pitts would have balled for me, that would have been great.
So, yeah, biggest thing for me is definitely going to be don't be afraid to make a trade. And make sure you get a fucking tight end. Because that could be the reason why you win a championship. I mean, you saw like I had why am I blanking on his fucking name? God damn. Kittle. Jesus Christ. George Kittle.
Yep. Which wasn't great in the beginning of the year.
Wasn't great in the beginning. Yep. But like he was the reason why I won some games towards the end.
Yep.
So a tight end can really, win you some games.
Yeah, and like when you think about it, it's like people, because the way I looked at it when I first came into this draft, I was like, it's either you have Kelce or you really don't have anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the way I was thinking about it. I was like, I could really just stream a tight end based on like a matchup.
Yeah. And there's a few guys you thought it was going to be, like I know we said Pitts, but then Darren Waller was another one who had a monster year, but then.
Yep. And I picked up Njoku, which was good for me this year. But then he got hurt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was just blistered with injuries. Yeah. But when you think about it, if you don't have a tight end who's putting up 10 plus points, you can have a guy that's literally going to get you 0 points. Like I had a couple weeks this year where my tight end gave me like 1 or 2 points. Yeah. And like you don't think about it, but if that tight end position can get you 12, 13, 14 points, that is such a massive swing at
Yeah,
the end of
yeah,
that week.
it
You know
really
what I mean?
is. It really is.
But yeah, so for me, I would probably say to not really have so much faith and like put so much weight on the running back position.
Okay.
I think there are guys,
See, I never do.
and
I never do because
the
I
only
like wide
reason,
receivers.
yes, man, the only reason I did though is because the year before I was so slim at that position,
Okay.
and I was like, I don't want to make that mistake again.
Kind of
You know,
overcompensating.
I was over. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I really went. I did 3 running backs off rip in both my leagues.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, maybe in my 12-team league, I think I did 2 running backs, then a receiver, and another running
Okay.
back. But still, I put a lot of faith
Yeah.
in those running
Yeah.
backs. I think I need to look more at the receiver position because points are points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where you get them from.
No.
Points are
Doesn't.
points, you know? So
Yeah.
I wish I would have gone with like a Justin Jefferson or like a Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean? So
I took Tyreek first pick for both my drafts,
Mhm.
so I'm glad I did that. But yeah, like Justin Jefferson, those are the kind of people that you got to, if they're available, you got to take them.
you have to.
You got to take them.
You have to because there's not as enough guys out there that are. It doesn't matter who the matchup is, like what the game script
Yeah.
is. They are going to get their targets. And they're going to
Yes.
get their opportunity. Justin Jefferson, there was it was a rarity for him to not go for like 30 fucking
Yeah.
points. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With like 15 targets.
Yeah.
Other than when he played.
Ooh,
Who did he play?
Alexander, Green Bay.
When he got classed. He got clapped up. You know what I mean?
Locked up, man.
So looking at that, I'm going to look more into just getting points for points and not really caring on where I'm getting them from. I
Okay.
do think you still need substantial running backs that aren't going to give you duds,
Yep.
but can still explode for like a 20-point game. But give me running backs that are going to sit in that 15,
Yeah.
that area.
I
You
mean,
know what I mean?
really, when it boils down to it, you just got to look at, like we said, usage.
Mhm.
Who's going to be getting those targets?
Yeah,
because that's really all that matters. Because you could even have like those teams that none of the media talks about.
Mhm.
They're kind of shitty,
Mhm.
but if they're number one, they're getting their targets. Fuck it, go get them.
It's a Stevenson situation.
Yeah.
Ramondre Stevenson. That's a perfect
Exactly.
example.
Right.
Looking at him, looking at like a guy like fucking. I know Chargers offense is a good offense, but like Austin Eckler is.
Yeah.
He's a PPR god
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
gets so many receptions.
And you never see really his name pop up much on like
No.
the sports shows or
Never.
anything.
Never.
But
But he has 10 catches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get me a guy.
His usage is insane.
And that's why I wanted Cordero Patterson because like I picked him up in one league and then I picked him up on waivers in another.
Okay.
My commissioner dropped him after he got hurt. I was like, oh, I think it was a crazy thing. He ended up coming back. He didn't really play great when he came back. Tyler Algier kind of started taking carries. But still, I mean, I'm looking for guys that are going to be like a hybrid type. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
A running back that is going to split out sometimes.
Yes.
Like that are good in the pass game. And then maybe and that's one thing that a lot of people didn't hold enough weight in this year, I think, was that quarterback position.
Mhm.
And like I know a lot of people in my 12-team league, I didn't hold really any weight. That's why I went with Trey Lance, hoping that he was going to pan out.
Yeah.
But looking back at it now, that's why Taft had a great team too. Taft had Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb,
Mhm.
Justin Jefferson,
Okay.
AJ Brown,
Okay.
Kittle,
Okay.
Jalen Waddle.
Okay.
So, and then he had some guys on the pine too. So,
Damn.
but he had Kirk Cousins as his quarterback, who was iffy, but then he would
He'll get
pop
you a decent
off,
amount.
you know.
Yeah, he'll average.
But when I was mid-season, I had Jalen Hurts as my number one guy, and Bobby Armando was trying to trade Robert. He was trying to trade Lamar Jackson because he had 2 on the pine.
Yeah.
He didn't have any receivers. I was trying to trade Jalen Hurts to Taft for Waddle, and I think it was Waddle and Justin Jefferson, and he was this close to doing it. And then I was in a flip CeeDee Lamb and DK Metcalf for Lamar Jackson.
Oh.
Because like the drop off was there. I'm kind of glad I didn't because Lamar Jackson ended up getting hurt.
Yeah.
But like that quarterback position this year more than ever, if you didn't have a running quarterback, it was tough.
I was about to say that. That would have been my last piece of advice. Is get you a quarterback that can scramble. Get you some rushing touchdowns as well. Because like I said, like I had Justin Fields.
Yep.
Fucking loved it.
Oh
I mean, and you look at other QBs like even QBs like Joe Burrow, they still know how to run outside the pocket and scramble and get you those rushing touchdowns. And I mean that can really help because you had Justin Fields who he would have games where he'd have less than 200 passing yards, but he would put up 40 pieces
Yeah.
of like because he
100
almost
on the
rushed.
ground,
He almost
100,
yeah
150 on the
yeah
ground.
two rushing touchdowns, 3 rushing like
You
bro.
can't beat it. You
No.
can't beat it. And looking at it, I mean, you usually want, and like that's one last piece of advice really that I would like to wrap this up on is the fact that you want to get guys that are in good offenses to an extent. You know what I mean? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Like if you have like a running back in like a shitty offense, or like they're the number one guy, sometimes it pans out.
Yeah.
But sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, like Jonathan Taylor was one of those guys.
Yes.
Like their offense was so bad it
bad.
didn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they didn't really have anybody else.
No.
But because of that, like the Derrick Henry situation, they would stack the box. It didn't work for Derrick Henry, but it worked for Jonathan Taylor.
But I think the thing is, I think it worked with Derrick Henry because I think they have their foundation, they have their system, and like it does work to an extent. So yeah, like you said, you know, there's gonna be those teams where overall they're just a shitty team. Like even though they are number one guy, they're just a shitty team.
Yep.
And obviously losing AJ Brown was huge for Tennessee.
Yep.
But at the same time, you know, they still had their system, their play calls that were gonna, you know, cater to Derrick Henry.
Yeah, and it worked for them the first couple weeks. I mean, they were good for the first couple weeks. I mean, probably
they
until
went like 7-3.
Yeah, they were solid,
and
then they just started losing like crazy. So, I mean, there's situations like I think you should look at game script for a lot of these teams. Game script and like how are they going to perform not only outside of fantasy, but like if it's going to be a team that puts up a lot of points, then go for those guys. You know what I mean? But if there's a team that they're like dog shit, like Dameon Pierce situation.
That's a good point.
Dameon Pierce is their best bet. Like they're going to get all the opportunities, but they're not going to score.
They're not going to move the ball.
You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
There was like a Thursday night game where Dameon Pierce went for like 139 yards. Didn't have a catch. Didn't score a touchdown.
He only had like 12 or 14 points.
13.9 points.
And he rushed for over
139 yards. So like when it comes to that, like it's hard to choose. And of course, going into the draft, like you think everything's going to pan out what you do.
Yes.
But like when you look at Miles Sanders, last year he wasn't great. But the game script was so favorable because they were winning so much. They were
scoring so many points.
And they were just handing it off to him. Jalen Hurts was causing more holes.
Yep.
So I think game script is like a big thing.
I like that point a lot. That's what I'm gonna look for next year.
You know,
just find a team that overall can score points. Like not just that guy, but they can score points overall. So it doesn't matter who they're going to.
Exactly.
Okay.
So looking at that, I think I want to kind of wrap it up on maybe some of the big name guys that you potentially want to stay away from next year. If you have anybody.
Stay away.
I'll even let you think about it. I'm gonna go Cooper Kupp.
I was literally thinking that
because
of the quarterback situation.
Quarterbacks, they were bad this year, man.
I was going to say Cooper Kupp.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I mean, he was still good when he played. He got hurt, but I think I wouldn't take him like top 5.
No, I
maybe.
Just don't trust that quarterback situation right now.
Unless there's like a development like that comes out that there's like he's back and he's healthy, and then the quarterback situation maybe changes up or something changes. I just don't see it. You know what I mean?
Their offense was just dog shit this year.
And like they only had Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
And like, he still got open, he still got his points, but like that doesn't entice me enough to like spend a top 5 pick on him.
No.
I think, don't get me wrong, I still think he might be a first round guy because of he is proven. I mean, he's gonna be a guy, he's gonna be a star, but I think there's too much unknown there.
Yeah.
Najee Harris, I'll probably stay away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let me just stay away from
until
that.
They can get like, I mean, I don't even know. It's like Kenny Pickett the guy? I don't know.
What they won like 3 in a row at the end of the year. I mean, they didn't look great.
Were they scoring a lot of points?
No, not really. So I mean, it's efficiency. I mean, sometimes it doesn't have to be efficiency if he's getting those PPR or those receptions, because I mean, it doesn't matter if he catches that ball and gets 1 yard.
Yeah.
That's 1.1 yard. That's 1.1 points for you off rip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of questions going into next year. I think for me, I need to be a little bit more. I mean, I was great on the waivers this year. I did have a couple good pickups.
I did like my waivers a lot.
But I think when you start off well, there wasn't a ton of injuries that had a lot of effects on waivers later on in the year, like in my opinion.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I think in the beginning of the year, like with Kenneth Walker, massive pickup.
Yeah.
But if you're winning, if you're like 3-1 or 4-1 or like whatever, you're lower on that waiver order. Sometimes it pans out, because I had a buddy who went 1-5. He ended up 9-5. He got Justin Fields, and I think he had like another really solid pickup.
Yeah.
Shout out my boy Kyle. But yeah, man, like Kenneth Walker is like a game changer for you if you're
Yeah.
able to get like a legitimate RB2.
Yeah.
So looking at that, man, I'm pretty sure that's all I have. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add for your year, or if you had a piece that you wanted to drop on these guys.
I don't know. Pretty much covered everything. I just kind of emphasize that last point you made about just finding a team that's going to have a good system for everyone, really, not just one person, but for everyone. They can move the ball and score fucking touchdowns. And touchdowns is the key.
They'll give you 6 points off the rip just because they're getting the end zone.
There's guys that can get they'll get 18 points. They have 3 receptions, 44 yards, but they have 2 touchdowns.
They had those 2 touchdowns. Exactly, bro. I mean, remember the Travis Kelce game? He had 3 touchdowns on 33 yards.
Yes.
And I'm like, you son of a bitch. And that's Mazel again, you bitch. Yep. So when things like that, Joe Mixon was another guy. Around the goal line, you want a team, if there's a pass interference call in the end zone, you know that your guy's probably going to get the score. Like Derrick Henry.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So stuff like that, man.
Because I know if they're in the red zone, he's going to get the ball.
Yeah.
I knew that. So that's why I wanted him.
And Jonathan Taylor was a guy that I thought was going to be that dude. Yeah. I remember I was in a really close week, and they had a pass interference call and brought it to the 1. He fumbled the ball at the 1. I'm like, oh my god, that was just my season. So overall, man, it was a good year. I mean, I ended up 3rd, and my other league I ended up 8th or something like that, which wasn't ideal. But other than that, bro, I mean, that's pretty much all I have for you. Thank you for coming on. I mean, it was a fun time.
It was fun. I mean, I love talking about football. It's a nice break from talking about movies and TVs.
For sure, brother.
I'm still a huge sports fan.
So you kidding me? And I'm gonna have you. We're gonna be in the same league next year. So lock in.
Let's do it.
Let's fucking lock in.
I'm ready.
Just to reiterate, it's not your fucking grandma's fantasy football podcast. This is Joshua Lamb here, your host. We got blessed with a great stallion of a man, fucking Blake Duckworth. Go check him out here. One more thing, shout out to my boy Chris McCormick for this sick ass hat. Fucking Sandbar, find your Sandbar. He's my guy. Clothing company, the man. So that's it. Blake Duckworth, much love, brother.
Much love.
I'll have you on next year, and we'll get after it. And I'm gonna be beating that ass all season long.
Yeah, we're gonna find out, baby.
All right. Much love, folks.
Peace out.